All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a series of mysterious blasts, raging fires, and a truly massive military buildup. What we're unpacking here is how all these escalating events are pushing Iran, the United States, and really the entire Middle East right to the brink of a major conflict. And it all kind of kicks off with this, a sound that just rips through the night sky over Iran's capital. A huge explosion, followed by this ominous black smoke just towering over the city. Every plume in the sky suddenly becomes this potential sign of war, and it sparked immediate, widespread fear. So, right away, this raises the critical question, right? Was this just some tragic accident, a totally random thing, or was it something far more deliberate? And that's really the central mystery we're going to explore here. Okay, so what exactly happened on the outskirts of Tehran? Let's break down the details of the explosion and, more importantly, the story that Iranian officials rushed to put out. Well, the contrast here is just stark. The official story from Iran was almost boring, a simple burst fire, they said, in some dry reed beds. But the public, they're living under this immense geopolitical pressure, and they immediately feared the worst, a calculated military strike or sabotage. So, Iranian state media really pushed a specific narrative. They said the fire started in this bone-dry vegetation, a common problem they claimed usually caused by carelessness. They made sure to stress that firefighters were on it in minutes, and maybe most crucially, that the whole thing was far away from any important military sites. The message was clear: this is a local issue, not an act of war. But this is where that official story really starts to look a little thin. Because, you see, that Tehran explosion, it wasn't an isolated incident. Nope. It was just one piece of a much larger and, honestly, deeply unsettling pattern of mysterious events happening all across Iran. Just look at this timeline. In the span of about 2 weeks, you've got a massive warehouse fire in West Tehran, a fire in a plant's cooling tower, a blaze at military barracks right in the capital, and then a huge eruption at a liquefied gas depot up in Tabriz. This is just a rapid-fire series of incidents hitting really critical infrastructure. It's a lot. And it didn't stop with the fires, not by a long shot. There were more explosions. Ammunition and fuel depots were reportedly hit in the city of Shahryar. Then another major blast in the super-strategic port city of Bandar Abbas claimed multiple lives. The public anxiety was just growing and growing. The pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. And to really get a feel for the national mood, think about this number, 99. That's how many earthquakes reportedly shook Iran in just 2 weeks back in January. The entire country felt physically rattled, which just added to this profound sense of political instability. It's like the ground itself felt as uneasy as the people living on it. But all of this internal chaos, it wasn't happening in a vacuum, not at all. At the very same time, the United States was dramatically escalating its military pressure on Iran from the outside. Yeah, the diplomatic backdrop here was grim. 2 rounds of nuclear talks had basically gone nowhere. Sources were suggesting that Washington's patience was wearing really thin, while Tehran was doing the opposite. They were hardening their position, refusing to back down. It felt like the door for any kind of peaceful resolution was slamming shut. And, as diplomacy stalled, the military hardware started moving in. The U.S. began surging assets into the region. We're talking entire carrier strike groups, warships, bombers, and over 50 of its most advanced fighter jets, F-22s, F-35s, F-16s, the whole shebang. This wasn't some subtle signal. It was a very clear preparation for a potential fight. So, what would a potential strike even look like? Well, according to sources quoted by Axios, this wouldn't be some quick in-and-out raid. Oh no. They were apparently planning for a massive, sustained operation that could last for weeks, with Israel also expected to join in. So you've got Iran facing pressure from the inside and a huge military buildup on the outside, and just when you think it can't get any more tense, a third front started heating up, threatening to open a whole new, volatile chapter in this confrontation. And we're talking about Hezbollah. For anyone who might not know, they are an incredibly powerful Iran-backed armed group and political force based in Lebanon. They're often described as Iran's fiercest and most capable proxy in the region. So what they do is deeply, deeply tied to what Tehran does. So over in Lebanon, a crisis was brewing. The Lebanese government gave Hezbollah a 4-month ultimatum to disarm. Hezbollah's response? It was swift, and it was a total rejection. They just blasted the plan, claiming it served Israeli interests, and they vowed to keep their entire arsenal ready for the next fight.
And you have to understand, this act of defiance wasn't just some local Lebanese issue. It created another major flashpoint. It was a clear signal that any conflict with Iran could spill over fast, with its most powerful proxy force primed and ready to open a whole second front. So let's just pull all these threads together for a second. You've got these mysterious fires and blasts causing chaos inside Iran. You've got a massive US military force gathering right on its borders. And you've got a defiant proxy itching for a battle. All three are converging at the exact same time.
So just how close to the edge were things? Well, according to Axios, one Trump advisor estimated a 90% chance of US military action against Iran within weeks. He reportedly said that the president was just running out of patience and was getting really close to giving the order. 90%. But Iran wasn't just sitting there silently. The supreme leader issued a stark, unambiguous warning directly to Washington. He vowed that any attack would trigger a powerful retaliation, and he made it crystal clear that American forces and bases across the entire region would not be safe. Which leaves us with this final, really urgent question. With the internal turmoil, the external military pressure, and this proxy standoff all reaching a boiling point at the same time, are the drums of war now beating too loudly to be ignored? Is a devastating regional conflict no longer a question of if, but when?